Welcome back to the CIO Lifeline. We are here live at DynamicsCon Live 2023, joined by Molly Fuchsel, President of Dynamics User Group, and Liz Hallen, Vice President. Thank you both for being here today. And with me, as always, my co-host, Tom Doran.
Hey Tony, so excited to be here. We are looking at a sold-out DynamicsCon, and while we're not here to talk specifically about DynamicsCon, we're talking about the value of user groups. But it's been so exciting to see this young user group community after just 3 years quadruple in size. And so we're looking forward to hearing from the ladies about their amazing growth, but also their view on what user groups mean to any software community.
I'd like to start first with Molly. If you think back to the origins of this group, like was there I don't know, like a genesis moment? Because there's been other user groups in the Microsoft community, right? So maybe talk us through how Doug came to be and a little bit about where we are today.
So we originated many, many years ago as a discussion forum that was run by a volunteer Microsoft MVP. Then our current owners became part ownership in Dynamics User Group to start Doug Meetups way back in 2016. But it was not until 2020 that they decided we needed a free virtual event that anyone could access around the world and have content available to them around the world, particularly product education opportunity. So this was thought up wonderfully by our owners, and at that point they had become full ownership of Dynamics User Group, which was fantastic. And both Liz and I came on as a very temporary contract to just help out with this one and done virtual event. But what came out of that was something very magical, and that was that we really discovered there was such a need out there for access to free content for product users. There were so many people out of our event that had 6,800 attendees the first time we had it that said, please do more for us. Please help us make this happen. So what really came out of that was not an event, it was a community. So that was how Doug really became what it is and how it's been growing ever since.
When I think about meetups, the power of the user community is something very special. Because one thing as a user, because we have a partner here and then of course the two of you, one thing that's been very valuable to me is being able to connect with like-minded individuals in the industry that I'm in. It gets me out of my bubble.
Right.
Because everybody's experiencing the same kind of pain, the same kind of challenges. And yeah, I can go to my partner and I can get all the things that they like to sell. But what makes it and cements it in is when I can share that with others in the community. So when you think about meetups, did the meetups concept piggyback off of what you've formed here? Or did that come later in the life cycle? So maybe not only the origins, but talk about how that group has expanded and where you're at as a population today.
Absolutely. I'm going to pass it to Liz. She's going to give you the best answer for that one.
Yeah, so as Molly was explaining when we were talking about kind of where we started and where we originated, our current owners did start Dynamics User Group with one of the with Meetup programs for the first 4 years that they were in ownership of Doug, and unfortunately we had that horrific pandemic that hit us.
Yeah.
And that really kind of stopped the meetups from happening. The meetups that were happening then, I think there were maybe a dozen-ish around North America at that point in time. Pandemic kind of crushed that a little bit, but definitely within the last year, since people have been feeling much more comfortable meeting in person again, we have seen an unbelievable growth and interest in meetups because of exactly what you're saying, Tony, is people love getting together. They love sharing their stories and learning from each other. We are now up to, well, as of DynamicsCon Live Week, we've had a ton of interest in brand new groups, so we are continuing to grow, but as of the recording of this session, we are at 38 groups, and we're across 8 countries right now.
8 countries, I didn't realize.
8 countries. Yes, and I have,
It
is, and we have a couple of different countries that I'm in process of talking with now to also start groups in a couple of other countries as well as many other major cities around North America. So,
How big of a challenge is it to find volunteers to lead that group? Because in my experience, it tends to whittle down quick. You get people jazzed up, they're
Yeah.
going to start their group, and maybe it doesn't kick off like they want, or depending on the cadence, by the second
Yeah.
or third, it becomes more of a job. I don't mean to downplay, because I see tremendous value in this. I really do.
Yes.
And I always like the concept of don't go it alone. So you hope these
Absolutely.
leaders find a partner to help with this, and then
Yes.
look to the Doug community to help rally that support, right?
Yes.
But so what are some of the challenges that you're seeing with leaders? Is it sticky, or do you see a lot of swap out? Like, where's the...
So far, it's been very sticky, but of course, within the last year, things have just really been kind of getting rolling. We make it very easy for volunteers to come forward and to create a local group. We're very much there to support them every step of the way. All of our meetup events are free to lead, free to attend. I think that definitely helps. Your best practice of having a co-leader or multiple leaders definitely helps in distributing the workload that's required, because everybody in their day jobs has cycles that are up and down and can't give as
Yeah.
much time at certain times of the year. So that's definitely a best practice. And one of the things that has allowed our group to stay maybe a little bit more sticky is that we meet with all of our meetup leaders once a quarter to share best practices with each other. So the same challenges that you as a leader are facing are probably the same challenges that other leaders are facing. And so being able to share that, it's kind of a community within a community, if you will.
Yeah.
That I think has really helped. I certainly also think that having the support of a partner can also help, or finding and identifying multiple partners that are in a localized area, because they can help you with the content, they can help you identify speakers, they can bring more end user customers and really help to grow those groups too. And having that bigger group, I think, will help to force a little bit more longevity and stickiness, if you will.
Liz, that's a great point, and I was just meeting with a user who was trying to get another user to work with them to start a new chapter. And when we talk through it and we think about our experience, if you plan your group with basically 3, you say once a quarter, but if you count your national user group meeting, in this case DynamicsCon Live, as one of those, and then say, look, we have 3 other quarters we want to fill, that's really just 3 meetings in a year. And if you get a few people involved, it's really not that big a lift. And so, just one thing for other users to consider if you're thinking of starting a meetup.
Right. And I'll just make the comment, first, when Tom says chapters, he lovingly means Doug meetups.
I always mean that.
Yeah, that's right. So, first we have wonderful support from Microsoft, which does provide us a lot more resources to help these volunteers find speakers and things like that. It's been really great having their support in this growth process. And the other thing we didn't do too quickly, although some of us wish this was really fast, we took our time finding the right volunteers. There is a level of what we do that means that it's about the authenticity of making sure people are coming together for the right reasons. So finding those dedicated user volunteers like Tony, like so many others that have been with us this week, that takes time, but when you find those right people, like a Tony, they're not going anywhere. They're so excited to remain in their volunteer post for a long time to come. Liz and I have experienced and been in other situations with other localized user groups that have volunteers, but they've never had a meeting. They have volunteers that quit before they ever started, and that's the hardest thing to see. So we're really happy to see such a high rate of actual meeting growth, along with our volunteers getting excited about it and just wanting to help each other learn.
What about in my past life, there tend to be a resistance to having partners in the room, VARs in the room. I never understood that, because they bring a value to the group. And you're in control, as a leader, you're in control of the content. And you're looking to your peers that are in this group to say, here's some of our pain points that we would like to bring. So you're not just picking a vendor out of a hat, right? So I never quite understood that. And sometimes I'll point a finger at the leader and go, you're in control of this, and yeah. So what about, are you experiencing the same challenges with meetups, or has it not been such a pain point as far as bringing vendors and partners into the fold?
Oh, I get this one too, okay. Honestly, with the meetups, we've had tremendous support from partners and vendors, ISVs, everybody. And Doug as a whole, just in general, is very welcoming of any partner, any ISV. At the end of the day, for the most part, particularly in the Business Central space, the partners have that product knowledge. Like, we need those partners. We absolutely need those partners, and so it has not been a problem for us. In fact, I've been supporting communities in various different ways for a long time now, and what I've noticed and realized over time is when you start a new community, the partners are always there first. The partners come first.
Sure.
They want to see what it's all about. Is this a trustworthy space? Do I feel comfortable inviting and bringing my customers next time? And that's definitely what we have seen. I mean, I think you have seen that with the first DynamicsCon Live to the third DynamicsCon Live. Our first DynamicsCon Live, we saw 75% partners, 25% end users. Mm-hmm. And this time we're at 45% end users and 55% partners. So
I tell you, when I did the keynote for Inovia, and when I looked out across the room, I think back to when I started with Inovia, and I imagine a fraction of that room, potentially being filled then. So you look at the growth. Yes. And when you look at leaders like yourselves and the energy you bring, because it's not just the knowledge, it's the personality. Like, you're very warm, you're very
Thank you, Tony.
Yeah, no, and I mean it. I'm not saying
Molly has more energy for all of us.
Yeah.
And I would just add, I had two thoughts as you were discussing that. So one, I think growth comes from that sincerity. Everybody that's sitting here, I know, we believe that users that learn more, that understand their product, that feel empowered, are better users, they're happier users. And then when they choose to engage with a partner, they understand the value that they're getting. And they don't feel like, there's some simple answer that nobody's telling them.
Yes.
And then back to how to get organized for your meetup. I would encourage the use of the term meetup. You should just say meetup frequently. But when you organize your meeting, also set a standard agenda. Make things easy for yourself. You know how you make coffee the night before, so when you get up in the morning, all you do is you flip the switch. It helps you get organized. So say, hey, look, just as an example, we're going to have an opening 20 minutes. We're going to have an ISV presentation, partner, whatever, sponsor, they're paying for the rent, right? But something that the group decided, AP automation as an example. Mm-hmm. But fill it in, some business problem we're trying to solve. Right. Then you do a core BC session. Mm-hmm. Then you do a customer testimonial, right? Something that they're doing. Mm-hmm. It's simple. Everybody does half hour, 45 minutes. You get a good half to 3/4 day learning. And then one thing, Tony, and you really mastered this with Holly at the Great Lakes, but if you're fortunate enough to have something kind of interesting in your area, and you could have your event someplace fun, that also tends to bring people out. For sure. So just a couple of thoughts as you two were sharing. I'm thinking about where we really saw stickiness happen, right?
Pain points was another fun session we would always do, because you meet once a quarter and you come in so that Linda's doing an upgrade, right? Someone's doing some kind of project. Yeah. So being able to hear those experiences, what went well, what didn't go well, what's frustrating you in the Business Central space, that was always a popular sort of go-to topic. Having lunch without cheese is also something I recommend in your meetings.
Oh my goodness. I will.
Slight dig to Tom Doran on that one.
It's not even slight.
I will say, I think you touched on this, and Tony, you did as well. I think the premise from the volunteer perspective is we keep it simple. So when you keep it simple, it's easy to follow the rules. And that applies to the leaders, to the people in the room. We don't have rules that partners have to sit in the back row and they can't say anything. We don't have rules about how long every session has to be. Tom did a great job of explaining an example agenda, but we let people have the freedoms that in our previous roles at a previous company, there was too many guidelines. It didn't make it fun to volunteer anymore. It was too many guidelines. They changed all the time. I didn't like them, and I helped manage the program, so I can't imagine how someone like Tony felt. So, I mean, it's, let volunteers lead, let leaders lead is what I always used to say to my old team, and I said, it's really that simple. So now that we have a little bit more say in what we do at Doug, we really keep that as a premise to remember why we're all here and to let the rest of it flow organically, and it's been doing that beautifully.
Yeah, and I think from a leadership spot, the sweet spot for us, everybody's different, but we're trying to share and hopefully help aspiring meetup leaders to take heed here or take notes. I don't know however you want. Take lead. Take
Do
lead.
something.
That's
Just
it.
do something.
Yeah. Will you do something, please? Yeah. Having three, right? So you have one person who's kind of chairing it, kind of quarterbacking it, maybe working with their Doug counterpart or Liz or whoever, getting all the administrative things in line. And we want lunch to show up at a certain time. We want to make sure people know where they can park with no cheese. And then you have,
Please, no dairy.
yeah. And then, helping to find the venue. You'd be surprised how we kicked off at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Simple conversation, yeah. Got to see Lady Gaga's meat dress, as beef jerky dress by the time we saw it, but it was still whatever, it was okay. But a simple conversation, you work out a group rate, so at the conclusion of our meetup, you have a ticket and you can enjoy the museum. We had a tour of the the Guardian Stadium. And we got to see how where they trained, the indoor pitching.
That was a great meeting.
Super cool, wasn't it? And then at the Cavs, and again, simple conversation, didn't cost us anything. We got to shoot hoops inside the Cavs stadium in the practice court. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so little things like that. And all right, so that's leader one, right? Leader two, you have someone who's marketing. Like I'm weak when it comes to, tweets and posting. It's just not my strong
Your
suit.
digestive system.
My digestive system. Threw me there. Marketing, tweets, yes. And for us, that was Holly Cudel. Man, she loved that. She was great at that. I miss working with Holly. She was fantastic. And then we had Linda Hart, and she was more of sort of I want to say kind of the content. She grounded the content, help bring the vendors in and keep them structured and, and you're spreading the burden. That's not a burden, but you're spreading
Responsibility.
Yeah, because you meet a few times a year. You hate to have scratches during those 3 times. So if you're spreading the load around, it tends to work out. You don't get burned out.
So you had great events. I think you should tell everybody about when you burned your finger on the toboggan.
Ooh, so yeah, we've done aquariums, Santa shops, and we turned them into charity events. During the winter time, so we'd have Toys for Tots. Man, I want to start another one now.
Attaboy. See how we did it? This was all a trick. See, you thought you scheduled this?
Yeah.
These two scheduled this. This is an intervention.
Yeah.
Holly's outside.
Yeah.
You're going to get to work with her again.
All right, so the toboggan story, yeah. So we come and it's cold that day, So we're in this cabin-like atmosphere. There's a fire going. We had the screen up. We had all these toys people were bringing in to donate later, and we ended the session on now we're going to go on the toboggan hills. And they gave you clear warnings that when you're going down a hill, keep your hands and feet in the sled. Because there's no guardrails. Like if you weren't paying attention. Now, I'm layered up. I had 2 sets of gloves on, and we're getting ready to go down. I've gone down several times at this point. And for whatever reason, I felt like I had to adjust myself, and I thought I could do it really quick. And I'm telling you, it was literally like 2 seconds. I felt my finger leave, and it hit the side, and I'm like, ooh, just like that. Didn't realize until I got to the bottom of the hill, it went through both gloves, the skin, and right down to the knuckle, to the literal knuckle.
Oh my gosh.
So there was somebody on site to help dress it, wrap it, and it was so cold. I didn't.
Like, you're our third one today.
You're right. That's right. Reality didn't hit till I got home and warmth, but that was 2 months of healing before. But it's just in that moment. Anyway, poor me.
That's right.
So what do you think? Like, if you look at your first DynamicsCon live event, compare that today, what kind of growth have you seen in terms of percentages? Have you doubled? Have you tripled? Is it?
Well, so one thing we are always, this makes our lives, Liz and our lives, very easy, and it makes it very easy for our sponsors. We're very transparent about our numbers. So we tell you exactly what we have, we tell you exactly what we don't, and we tell you exactly what we hope to see. So our first event had 160 attendees. We'll have, now that was the first event, second event, here we are at the third event with 625 attendees the last time I looked, and I know that there has been more since I looked, so it's been incredible. And I think last year we came just shy of 400 people, and we had 3 months less to promote it this year because we decided to make that move from fall to spring. And so we're very happy with the growth. We're just so excited to see everyone. But it's not, I like Tom, do not judge it by the numbers. I judge it by what's your experience. What do you like this? I judge it by the look on your face. I judge it by the feedback you're giving me. And all of it so far has been phenomenal. So that's how I judge the success at the end of the day. I really come down on Liz about analytics behind the scenes, but really, but because those are important, but that's what matters the most when we're here. That's, I think, how we really should be measuring the success, and I think Tom has done a great job of that himself here at the Innovia Customer Conference too, so you're well aligned.
You both make it very easy, and that's what I don't think every attendee realizes. Maybe they do, they don't say it, but you walk in, you register your rooms, everybody's buttoned up. It's like effortless. But then you kind of peel back some of the onion to know what you go through in planning this event. And God bless you. Like, can you imagine doing this once a quarter? I mean, the amount.
No.
Yeah. It's just a testament to the job you do, and I couldn't be any more thankful because I do look forward to this event every year, and seeing the growth is just exciting because I feel like you're just getting started. Like,
I agree.
If I can put my future lens on for 3 years from now, 4 years from now, man, strap in.
Absolutely.
But keep your fingers inside.
Yeah, keep your
Yes.
Good one, Liz.
Yes, keep your hand in the sled.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, DynamicsCon Live, that's been fantastic. But in between the meetings, even in between your meetups, there are a lot of other tools that keep that community connection. And I happen to think that the forums are one of the more important of those tools. The opportunity to run into a question, you hit a little snag, you're thinking of something, you're planning, and you just put it out there to the community. You say, hey, has anybody else done this? And it turns out that almost every time somebody else has done this before. Right. And so they give you ideas, use them, don't use them, but it's a great way to collaborate. Absolutely. and continue to build that community in between your physical meetings. Absolutely. And in addition to the forums, I just heard some news about webinars. What's going on there?
We just launched the Doug webinar program, which we're super excited about. So this is, of course, we're known for DynamicsCon Virtual being free, accessible content, but that happens once or twice a year. These are now a way for all of our users and partners and even Microsoft community members to log in, watch content for free, and we've been getting great feedback from the wonderful people on our advisory committee meeting, like Tom Doran here, that play with the webinars in the timing. It doesn't have to be an hour. It doesn't have to be 45 minutes. Let it be 20 minutes. Let it be a 10-minute tips and tricks. Let it be a deep dive hour and a half. That's the part that we get to have the flexibility with that I think will be really interesting for our community members as well. So again, completely free with your free community membership.
You're saying it's free.
Yes, I'm saying it's free. Yes, that's right. Thanks to our wonderful sponsors like Inovia. So yes, definitely check that out. That'll be on the Dynamics User Group website soon, and we're excited to launch that and really have a nice way to connect and bring the community back together in other ways such as that.
And what is that website?
DynamicsUserGroup.com. This webinar series would not be possible if it wasn't for us hosting and partnering with MS Dynamics World. So what's fun is you're actually going to have a good mixture of users, not just from our community platform, but from MS Dynamics World. They have a huge reach as well in our community. They've been well established for 15 years now. They just celebrated their 15-year anniversary. So they'll actually be helping us make all of this happen with the scheduling, the hosting of it, the posting of it, all of it. So we're very excited. We'll see. We had a test pilot webinar that we did, and we had a 36-hour notice to do it, and we had 110 attendees. So we think this is going to be really good.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
great.
So
Yeah.
I'm so excited to hear that, because I'll tell you, just as a side note, when we were looking to outsource our webinars, and so now we're talking to the guys at MS Dynamics World.
Excellent.
And we think we're gonna have ours done up there too.
Excellent, excellent. We'd love to have you on our webinar calendar.
And they're great partners.
Yes.
Well, and just such a synergistic
Yes.
readership, right?
Yes.
Like that's,
Yep.
Yes.
yeah.
And speaking of partnerships, how's it been working with your owners during this, through this journey? How's that partnership been?
Good question. So it's not really a partnership. Our owners are John Stypula and Jake Roeder. They have been in the community for a very long time as well, with partner organizations in the past. So I don't consider it a partnership because they're definitely owners. They have been very large and great visionaries for the community strategy. They saw a gap and a need, and that's really how Doug started. Since then, they do still have day jobs, and so they have allowed Molly and I to do a lot of the direction of Doug, because we're listening to community, and our direction really comes from our community and our advisory committee and our programming committees. Certainly with John and Jake there as well for advisors and mentors to us too. They've just been fantastic.
Yeah.
I don't know if Molly has more she would like to add.
No, I think that's perfect.
So full creative freedom. You get a lot of runway.
Most of the time.
Most of the time, yes. Most of the time.
Or I just spend a little extra time convincing them this is the right thing to do.
So at last year's event, I'm on a plane coming here, and I'm sitting next to this individual, and he keeps tapping the shoulder of the gentleman in front of him.
That's right.
And they're I'm not paying attention. I try to zone out when I'm on the flight, but I hear
these two in front of me.
yeah. I'm like, will you be quiet? No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. No, but I hear them tweeting or talking about, hey, I see the tweets coming through, DynamicsCon Live 2022 or something similar to that. And then I'm like, because I've never met them before. I just knew my name. I'm like, I think our worlds have just collided here. I said, are you going to blah, blah, blah? And then they introduce themselves. I'm like, holy crap. It was just great to meet them in person. And we had a great conversation.
It was hard to believe they flew commercial.
Yeah. Well, if Holly and Liz weren't bleeding them dry. Yeah.
No, they've been wonderful, wonderful curators of all that this has shaped into be.
Yes.
So.
Wow, and you can just tell, they're passionate about the group, the direction it's going, its purpose, and I gotta tell you, that's why I am very excited for what the next 3 years can bring. Appreciate everything you've done up to this point. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, take care, everyone, and we'll see you next time on CIO Lifeline. You said you were ready.
Is this how they make movies in your room? Too?
Compulsive
That's right.
liars.
Sorry, can you do that exactly the same one more time?
Yeah,
Don't
anybody-
hang out with me. Don't hang out with me.
Welcome back to the CIO Lifeline, bringing you practical tips and advice from the front lines. Laughing next to me is Molly Fuchsel.
I had a friend, they were taking this big picture of us all camping. And he stops and he's like, so do you have Tom Doran in the picture? I'm like, yeah, we got him. He's like, can you get Tom Doran out of the picture? And before the police came.
Tony's gonna come out looking the cleanest here. He's like,
Right.
on this side of the table.
No
the whole
evidence.
time.
And if I incriminate myself, I'll cut it out.
Because we travel so much, right? There's Mondays we can't meet. There's, Tony's drunk half the time. I mean,
Yes.
It's Tony. It's always Tony.
Recovering from my heroin downturn.
Exactly. Liz, could I just...
Oh, hold on, cough break. Sorry. I need that Arizona air pumped in here, because when I'm outside, everything's cool.
I'll make a comment after you want.
Sure.
All right, sorry, go ahead.
All the Microsoft employees, like, we are a very open and transparent community. I don't know what just fell out of your pocket, but
Mystery.
Jeez, I think I'm gonna get deducted for this. We're gonna let
are
it,
you good?
we're gonna fall it, sorry.
Oh.
Almost said something else that rhymes with fall.
Oh, yes, we did.
Yeah.